Welcome back to TPS. The value of NFL running backs has changed a lot throughout history. For the first 30 to 40 years of the Super Bowl era, practically every team needed a top-tier running back if they wanted to contend for championships. But in the 2010s, we've seen a lot of teams win without a Pro Bowl caliber running back. Many of them don't last long in the NFL. A large portion of them are practically done once they reach their early 30s. And of course, some teams have just been scared to draft top running back prospects. Why? Because so many times we've seen some hotshot college prospects completely flop once they turn professional. These 10 guys on our list look like sure things in college, only to end up being the complete opposite of what we all expected once they reached the pros. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. Number 10, Blair Thomas. Even though a knee injury forced him to miss some time at Penn State, Blair Thomas left his mark on the Nittany Lions. He was a second-team All-American in 1989 after rushing for 1,341 yards and 5 touchdowns. The year before that, Thomas had 1,414 yards and 11 touchdowns. Thomas was drafted with a second overall pick by the New York Jets in 1990, but his career was a disappointment from the get-go. A lot of the blame should fall on the Jets because they never gave Thomas the chance to be the number one back. They used him in an RB by committee approach, so it wasn't exactly worth him taking the number 2 overall selection. Thomas never broke out with the Jets. His best season was in '91 when he had 728 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Jets moved on from Thomas after 4 years. He had brief stops with the New England Patriots, Carolina Panthers, and Dallas Cowboys, but neither of them were able to save his career. Thomas's NFL career ended with just 2,236 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. Number 9, Cedric Benson. The former Texas Longhorn played for 4 seasons of college football. Benson's numbers were nothing short of spectacular. He hit the 1,000-yard rushing mark in each season and rushed for at least 12 touchdowns every year. Benson averaged 5 yards per carry over his 4 years with the Longhorns. Benson won the 2004 Doak Walker Award as the top college running back in the country, and he was named to the first-team All-Big 12 in 2003 and 4. He was drafted 4th overall by the Chicago Bears in 2005, but Benson never developed into the star they had envisioned. In 3 years with the team, Benson averaged just 3.8 yards per carry and recorded a total of 1,593 yards and 10 touchdowns. To his credit, Benson enjoyed a trio of 1,000-yard seasons for the Cincinnati Bengals from 2009 to 11. He also fumbled 15 times in those 3 years, and he only averaged 3.8 yards a carry. Benson joined the Green Bay Packers in 2012 but suffered a season-ending foot injury. He was never signed by another team after that and was done playing football. Sadly, 7 years after he retired, Benson was killed in a motorcycle accident in Austin, Texas on August 17, 2019. He'll always be remembered for his incredible college career, and not so much what he did in the pros. Number 8, John Cappelletti. The former Penn State star had one of the greatest college running back seasons ever in 1973. Cappelletti had 1,522 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. That netted him the Heisman Trophy, the Maxwell and Walter Awards, plus an unanimous All-American selection. The Los Angeles Rams drafted Cappelletti with the 11th overall pick in 1974. However, he was unable to translate that success over to the NFL level. Cappelletti's best season was in 1996 when he had 688 yards and 1 touchdown against 3 fumbles. After 5 years with the Rams, Cappelletti moved on to the San Diego Chargers, where he'd last for 4 seasons. He finished with a mere 2,951 rushing yards and 24 touchdowns in a career that spanned 9 seasons. Number 7, LaMichael James. James played for Chip Kelly's Oregon Ducks from 2009 to 11, and he was an absolute workhorse of a running back. James rushed for over 1,500 yards in each of his 3 seasons at Oregon and reached double-digit touchdowns in each as well. In all, James had 5,082 rushing yards and 53 rushing touchdowns. He sits 20th all-time in NCAA rushing yards, and his 53 rushing TDs are tied for 26th most all-time. James, a 2-time first-team All-American, also won the Doak Walker Award in 2010. He was drafted in the 2nd round by the San Francisco 49ers in 2011 with the 61st overall selection. However, James was obviously never going to replace perennial Pro Bowler Frank Gore in the backfield. The 49ers only used James sparingly on offense, and he was used as a special teams returner instead. James totaled just 184 rushing yards and 0 touchdowns in 3 years with the 49ers. He last played in the NFL in 2015 for the Miami Dolphins, but he was let go after the first game of the season. James never played in the NFL again. Number 6, Montee Ball. The Wisconsin product played 4 seasons of college football, and he was flat out dominant in just about every aspect. Ball won the 2012 Doak Walker Award and 2 Jim Brown Awards, and he was named a consensus All-American twice. He was also named the 2011 Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Ball rushed for over 900 yards in 3 of his 4 seasons at the college level, crossing the 1,800-yard mark twice. He had a whopping 18 rushing touchdowns in 2010, 33 in 2011, and 22 in the send-off 2012 season. The Denver Broncos drafted Ball in the second round, 58th overall, in 2013. He was joining an offense led by Peyton Manning and 2 dynamic wide receivers in Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas. The hype was through the roof with Ball. However, Ball wasn't able to do much in a Denver offense that set an NFL record with 606 points scored. Noshawn Marino won the starting job instead, and Ball had 559 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 fumbles. Denver hoped Ball would finally break out in 2014, but C.J. Anderson stole the starting gig instead. Ball had 172 rushing yards and 1 touchdown in his sophomore year. He was released in the preseason and later signed with the New England Patriots. Ball never played there and was released in the 2016 offseason. And just like that, he was out of the NFL for good. Number 5, Chris Perry. A 6-foot, 224-pound running back was a superstar in his 4 years for the Michigan Wolverines. Perry had a historically dominant 2003 season where he rushed for 1,674 yards and 18 touchdowns. Perry won the Doak Walker, Jim Brown Trophy, and Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year awards in 2003. On top of that, he earned consensus All-American honors. Perry was drafted 26th overall by the Cincinnati Bengals in 2004. However, his career in the NFL was short and not so sweet. Perry played just 4 seasons and saw very little playing time. He last played for the Bengals in 2008 and finished his career with 606 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Not what you'd expect from somebody who put up 1 impressive season just a half-decade earlier. Number 4, Travis Prentice. The flashy running back played for the Miami University Redhawks from 1996 to 99. Prentice rushed for double-digit touchdowns all 4 seasons, and he crossed the 1,500-yard mark 3 times. Prentice's 5,596 rushing yards placed him 8th all-time in the NCAA history books. His 73 rushing touchdowns placed 3rd all-time, only behind Keenan Reynolds and Montee. Prentice was drafted in the 3rd round, 63rd overall, by the Cleveland Browns in 2000. He had 512 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in his rookie year before moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. He only had 14 carries in the 2001 season, however, and that was it for Prentice in the NFL. Hard to believe one of the greatest running backs in NCAA history only lasted 2 seasons in the NFL. Number 3, Ron Dayne. Like the aforementioned Montee, Dayne spent 4 seasons with Wisconsin, racking up elite stats and a ton of individual hardware. On top of winning the Heisman Trophy in 1999, Dayne also won the Doak Walker, Jim Brown, Maxwell Walter Camp, and Chick Harley Awards that same year, and he was named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Sure sounds a lot like that Ball guy. And Dayne ranks 1st all-time in NCAA rushing yards with 7,125. In 1999, Dayne had a whopping 2,034 rushing yards and 20 touchdowns. That made him a can't-miss prospect in the 2000 drafts, and the Giants selected Dayne with the number 11 pick, even though they already had a dynamic RB in Tiki Barber. Dayne had a solid rookie season where he rushed for 770 yards and 5 touchdowns, and the Giants reached Super Bowl 35, though they were blown out by the Baltimore Ravens. Dayne posted similar numbers in his sophomore year, but his production dropped significantly from there. Dayne moved on from the Giants and joined the Denver Broncos in 2005, but he saw limited playing time. He would move on to the Houston Texans for 2 years and totaled 1,385 yards and 11 touchdowns over that span. Despite a productive 2007 season, Dayne decided he was done with football and never fully erased that BUSTS label. He had some good years, sure, but Dayne was lights out in college and he put up some decent numbers during his time in the NFL, but nothing close to what many had expected. Number 2, Archie Griffin. He's regarded as a legend in Ohio State Buckeyes lore, and for good reason. Archie Griffin won the Heisman Trophy in 74 and 75, and the Maxwell Award in the latter year. He was a 2-time Big Ten MVP and earned a trio of first-team All-American selections. Griffin ranks 9th all-time in NCAA rushing yards with 5,589. His number 45 was retired by the Buckeyes as well. Griffin was drafted 24th overall by the Cincinnati Bengals in 1976. However, he never became the game-changing player everybody witnessed in college. He never topped 688 rushing yards in a season. In his 7 NFL seasons, Griffin totaled 2,808 yards and 7 touchdowns against 15 fumbles. Well, at least he got to experience success in college, but yikes, that was ever a disappointing tenure in the NFL. Although it could have been worse, as you're about to see. Number 1, Trent Richardson. Rich spent 3 seasons with Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide, but it was his 2011 college season that made him a top pick in the 2012 draft. In his final year of college, Richardson rushed for 1,679 yards and 21 touchdowns. He had 29 receptions for 338 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was enough to earn Richardson the Doak Walker Award, plus the SEC Offensive Player of the Year Award. He was also named a unanimous All-American and led Bama to the national championship. Richardson was also on the Alabama team that won it all in 2009. The Cleveland Browns drafted Richardson with the 3rd overall pick in 2012, and he pieced together a strong rookie year with 950 yards and 11 touchdowns. However, Richardson was traded early in the 2013 season to the Indianapolis Colts for a first-round pick. Richardson's tenure in Indy was a total mess. In 2 seasons with the club, he only accumulated 977 yards and 6 touchdowns against 5 fumbles, and he averaged a woeful 3.1 yards per carry. The Colts cut ties with Richardson, and attempts to revive his career with the Oakland Raiders and Baltimore Ravens were unsuccessful. Richardson had a brief stop in the CFL and joined the Birmingham Irons of the AAF, but that league shut down during its inaugural season. Richardson was supposed to be something special in the NFL, but he just couldn't piece it together. Not only was he a bust, but the guy lasted just 3 years in the NFL. Nobody could have seen that coming after such a magnificent tenure with Alabama. What other running backs were great in college but total bust in the NFL? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.